Biaka Myuzu is a violinist, music geek, cosplayer and gamer. She accepted the challenge of talking about these passions with me while playing the board game Azul. Was she up to the challenge? Meet Biaka Myuzu. Biaka, thank you for accepting this invitation and for us to
Thank you.
no problem, thank you. For us to be able to play today and for me to get to know you a bit better. In a short summary, what is happening in your life right now?
A lot of work. I'm really excited for vacation time because as a teacher, so I'm what I do professionally is I teach, and this time of year is always chaotic. So really looking forward to just having a rest.
Okay, don't forget we are already playing while we speak. So it's your
Yes,
turn
sorry.
now. Yeah. I'm curious. What area do you teach?
I teach music.
Music. Oh, I guess that's one of the interesting topics for us today. But before going there, I'm super curious about the name that you present yourself on social media, Biaka Myuzu. Maybe this is a known character somewhere, or is there a meaning behind it?
Yes, there is a meaning. Actually, the reason why I had the name first was because I wrote a book. The book was basically a romance that I wanted to publish, and I thought, well, I don't really want to use my real name, so I'm gonna go with something invented.
So you completely came up with the name. There's no background.
Yes, there's no connection to anything. It's basically a play on words because I really like Japanese culture and I wanted to have something that sounded a little bit Japanese. So I used my own name, the short form of my name, Bia, and I just added the ka, Biaka. And then Myuzu is like, once again, a Japanese way of saying muse. That means inspiration. That's
right.
The name can be.
Right. Makes sense. Okay. Thanks for clarifying, Biaka. So the way I see you presenting yourself on your social media profiles is you present yourself as violinist, cosplayer, art lover, amateur writer, gamer in free times, and Twitch affiliate, which is a lot of areas.
Yes.
And before we explore all these areas, if possible, if we manage to have time for all that, what is your, because this is a board games channel, right? What is your connection with board games?
I love board games. Of course, everyone has those memories of family nights where people just bring out a Monopoly or some Scrabble or something like that and just play family games. And I just love to do those. And basically, I was trying to see what I'm supposed to do. And basically, I really like those memories. And as I grew up, I understood that there are some franchises, sometimes series, video games that also have board games. And I have friends that are very passionate about board games and have allowed me to play some. So I've been trying to explore a few board games on my own.
Which names pop your mind when you think about board
games? Right now, I have the Lacrimosa board game because it's a Mozart-related board game. Of course, I was interested in it. It's very complicated, and I've played it very few times thanks to that.
It's heavy, yes.
And I also have the Tomb Raider board game because I just love Lara Croft and the Tomb Raider video games. And the game is awesome. It's actually pretty simple to understand and pretty easy to play.
Since you are touching the Tomb Raider topic, I want to share something with you, which was not scheduled. But the first time I met you in person, you probably don't know, but I met you in person once. It was in Coimbra, and you were disguised as Lara Croft. It was
at the Mais Geek. I think it was
correct.
the name.
Yes. So I guess that's a special corner on your heart for Tomb Raider and Lara Croft.
Yes, it was one of the first video games I played for myself, and I have these very wonderful memories because the actual, let's say, original Tomb Raider fan was my mother. Was and
Your
is.
mother?
She loves Tomb Raider. Yes, my mother. And she bought the games because she wanted to play them so much. And I remember just being a small kid and sitting next to her playing. And sometimes she would be like, "Oh, you can press this button to help me with this boss fight." And I would help her. And I have these wonderful memories about the game.
You're talking about the PlayStation Tomb Raiders, 97, 98?
No, she played on the computer.
Don't forget to play, Azul.
Yes, yes, yes.
No pressure, no pressure. We're talking about
None,
Tomb Raider
none.
1, 2, 3, the first ones, right? Probably. I'm trying to
Yes, we're talking about the original
the
ones.
original ones.
She played one and two, and well, then we bought a lot of other ones. But yes, the original ones.
Original ones. So you are screwing me in the game because I always need to get to the negative points. But anyway, it's your turn now. So and still on the board games topic, you also play card games. I see some Digimon content in your profile. Do you play Digimon, the card game?
Yes, although the Digimon cards, I'm doing it just because just because I think they're neat. I
No.
like
They are,
Digimon a
yes.
lot. And the cards are just so very beautiful, and I have no idea why I selected this one. I kind of screwed myself.
You can always undo. Okay, there's all before you place, you can always undo, and choose another tile if that's
Okay.
the case. Okay. So yeah, now I also need to think here what to do, but let's go red. Let's go red. One big topic that is super visible when someone takes a look at your profile is cosplay. Cosplay.
Yes.
And so sorry, I'm also thinking about my play here. Um,
Mhm.
I I would like to know more, or to help our viewers also to understand more about cosplay and the process, because you seem to be passionate about it. So you should have many interesting things to teach about that. Um, but before going there, what inspired you to start cosplaying?
Uh, I guess that's. I'm not sure if it's something that is more common for girls than boys, but I think it happens all across kids because you are watching your favorite cartoon, anime, whatever it is, and um, you just look at some characters and you go, I wish I was like this character, or I wish I could dress like this character. So you have a lot of these thoughts. And when I first attended an event, I was like, I didn't even quite know what was cosplay at that point, but I was like, I want to go dressed as a character. And I went. It was basically just me using some stuff from my closet. It was not even a cosplay that we could call it.
Mhm.
And I think it was just from that wish of looking at some characters and just going, I wish I had that fashion sense.
Okay, I can see cosplay characters like Yuna from Final Fantasy X, Bayonetta, Lara
Yes.
Croft, Ada Wong from Resident Evil, among many others. So how do you choose the characters that you cosplay? Is there a process, a decision making process?
I think it's always a little bit impulsive in the sense that I just look at the character and I think, I really want to portray this character. But of course, it's a little bit more complicated than that because at the end of the day, cosplay is an expensive hobby. So you cannot cosplay all the characters that you like just a little bit. And it's always a mix of I like how the character looks, and I like first of all I have to like the game, the series, wherever the character comes from, and then
So many video game characters.
I do cosplay a lot of video game characters. So I just need to like the video game that it comes from. And then I need to identify myself in some way with the character that I'm portraying. I cannot do it otherwise because I really like the play part of the cosplay, not only dressing as the character, but being able
Be the character,
to
like role play the
be the
character in
character,
events and
exactly.
conferences. Okay.
Because I think it adds a certain magic when people come up to you and you're able to kind of react like you are the character. That makes it extra special.
Especially if I was going to say, especially if they are kids, but a grown up also gets excited by seeing another grown up dressed like a character and performing like that.
Yes, I have a few moments. Of course, kids have another way of reacting, but adults will come up to you, maybe say some lines from the series or the games that you are portraying. I think it's also a way of them testing if you actually know the character that you are portraying, but they will get really excited. I've had some very excited reactions from people that just saw, for example, one example that comes to mind is Violet Evergarden. I went to her as her to a con, and I had this very excited person that saw me, and they were like, "Oh my God, it's Violet Evergarden!" And then I just said the line that she always says, and they freaked out as soon as I said that. It was a very cute and amazing reaction.
I need to look it up because I don't know what Violet Evergarden is. So,
it's an anime.
An anime. Okay. Can you walk us through your process of creating a costume from concept to completion?
I will say that so far, I'm less of a maker and more focused on the performance part. Mm-hmm. And also thinking of my next move.
Don't forget that you should always put the tiles together in order to score the maximum. Okay, I know it's difficult, but that would be the proper strategy.
And usually what I do most, I'm trying now to kind of go into the sewing part, building and all that. I'm trying to do that, but it's still a little bit of an unknown territory for me.
Because if I'm not mistaken, Biaka, the true concept of cosplay is for you to create your own costume, right?
The concept of cosplay is actually because cosplay is joining the words costume and play. So it's basically you dressing up and being able to play the character that you are portraying. Of course, then there are different kinds of cosplayers, the ones that just focus on the performance, on the play part, and then the ones that focus on the making part. And I think it's truly. Oh, I cannot. Okay. And I think it's truly amazing because the makers are just unbelievable. I've done a few things. For example, you mentioned my Yuna cosplay. I did the staff that I'm holding. And I'm very focused. I'm a maker that tries to recycle a lot. So I try to use the things that I have at hand and make the stuff. I've done the weapons for your forger. I done the sword for both 2B and Kaine. I do those. I like doing props a lot.
Amazing. So you just find the materials, you follow the model, and you build yourself. Okay.
Yes. Because usually what I use most is cardboard, Eva, trying to use I think because the cosplay is already such an expensive hobby, I don't think you need to go to these extra lengths of, oh, the sword is made of metal, so let's really make it from metal. yes, there's some. It's awesome people that try to make it as accurate as possible, but at the end of the day, you can get the same with cheaper stuff and make it accessible to everyone.
You just made me get 6 negative points, Biaka, because I could not fit the yellow tiles. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Which costume took you the longest to create, and what made it so special? Any of the ones that you mentioned?
Tifa. Tifa Lockhart from Final Fantasy VII.
Why is that?
That one, I made it most from scratch. That one is one of those that I feel really proud of because I made it, most of it myself. I did the gloves, I did the top. The skirt was actually made by a friend, and I styled the wig as well. So I'm really proud of that one.
Okay. And it doesn't have any props, if I remember Tifa correctly. So there's no fancy weapons or staffs. It's just clothes. Still was the most challenging.
The gloves are the fancy weapons.
No gloves. Yes, she's a brawler. Is that one the favorite one that you've done, or is there another one that you consider your favorite cosplay?
The Tifa is the favorite one I've done in the sense of I created it. In the sense of wearing, that's such a tough question. My recent favorite is Bayonetta, but because Bayonetta also has a special place in my heart, as well as Lara. I waited so much time to cosplay Lara, and when I was finally able to do it, I was just so happy. And Bayonetta has the same effect on me.
And why does Lara and Bayonetta are that special? Is there something that you could share?
Well, Lara is for the reasons that I've shared, because it brings me a lot of good memories of watching the movies, playing the games with my mother. She's an absolute Lara fan. And Bayonetta is one of the first games I bought with my own money and played for myself. I just looked at the cover and I was like, I'm going to try this game for no reason other than I liked the cover. And it was a tough experience. I had never played anything like it. So I was just... I just loved the experience. I was elated when I finished the game by myself for the first time. And I just loved Bayonetta's character. So I think it's so special to me.
Are there any skills or new techniques that you are working on to improve your cosplay?
Sewing. I'm really trying to delve because once again, my mother is very supportive of all the activities I do, and she has been lending me her sewing machine so I can sew a cosplay for the first time.
Okay. There's nothing else for me to add on sewing because I just sew socks.
And actually, I chose the worst possible project for sewing because I decided I wanted to sew a piece that is in fake leather. And fake leather is horrible to sew on a sewing machine. I have friends that understand sewing, and they were like, that's a terrible first time project.
In terms of cosplay community, how was being part of this cosplay community impacted your life, or is impacting your life at the moment?
Being part of the community is a lot of fun. Of course, as every community there's also some drama, some stuff that people disagree on. And I think it's one of those things where the community is so small that every single thing just becomes instantly known. But I think the community is very helpful. People will jump if you ask anything. They will jump, give you tips, share their own experiences, what works for them, what doesn't work. And I've made a lot of friends on the community that are just wonderful people, and they are good for conversation, for advice, and even to they became friends for life. So I think there are very positive things. There are wonderful people in the community. And then, of course, there are its bad sides as well, because it's just normal for human relationships.
I will now be able to put our game in the screen. Um, and what is the most memorable experience at a convention or an event that you had?
I think it's always the interactions I have with people, especially when I bring. So I have a few cosplays where it makes sense for me to bring a musical instrument. And that's when I have the most interesting interactions. For example, I cosplay a violinist from an anime called Your Lie in April, which is Kaori Miyako.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever to an event as her, I bring violin, and people just look so surprised. Wait, oh, I lost.
Yeah, so the game already ended, so I triggered the end game. There's a difference of points. The first game is always to learn, right? So,
Okay.
would you accept a rematch while we
Yes,
continue
I
our
accept.
conversation? No. So now
Yes.
you should try to focus then on placing tiles together in order to for them to score, and we can
Okay.
resume our conversation after starting. Okay, so let's go. So you were saying before you saw the end of the game, the first game.
Yes. And as I was saying, so I really love to bring the violin, and sometimes I will go after cosplayers. And if I know the music from the anime video games that they are playing, I will go after them and play it for them. And I always get these wonderful reactions.
Imagine
So
so.
I think those make the most memorable experiences.
Um, how do you feel about the increasing popularity of cosplay? Does it change the dynamic of the community?
It does change in the sense that because cosplay is now so well known, you will see a lot of newcomers. So you see this big age gap because there are kids cosplaying. Uh, and you see a lot of new additions. And I think that's great because we cannot be, the same people that are turning 30s, 40s, 50s, and we are increasingly getting old. I think new blood is always needed.
And how do you feel cosplay allows people to express themselves?
Oh, I think it leads to a lot of liberty in that sense, because not only cosplaying the characters that you see on screen and um, and being able to be them, it also allows, because you will see these wonderful versions that people make of the characters that they like. People want to make like a spider persona, like a Spider-Man, but inspired in their own original design. People will make, for example, an Aerith cosplay, but they will also make their own twist on that cosplay. And I think that creative freedom is beautiful, because people just take a character that they love and they try to give their little something, like their personal touch to that character.
Okay. What advice would you give to someone that is just starting cosplay or plans to start?
I know people sometimes go into the community and they're like, oh, I want to do my first cosplay. I don't know what to do. Who should I choose? And I always try to say the same things. That is, choose a character that you really like. If you feel like it's a very expensive hobby to get into, maybe start by doing a casual cosplay, wear some clothes that kind of remind you of the character. Uh, at the end of the day, just as long as you're happy with what you are wearing and you feel like you are able, in some sense, to bring that character to life, I think that self feeling is the most important part.
How do you assess the possible cost of a cosplay? Is the more props the character has more expensive? Is the hair detail? Help me or help us.
Usually, the most expensive characters are the ones that you look and you see either very big armors, or, of course, lots of props would also be a problem. But and you see that, for example, their clothing is made of various layers. For example, I will give a very simple example. Yuna has a lot of different parts to her cosplay. She has a top. She has like the cross white fabric that goes in the front. She has the skirt. She has the obi, which is the belt part of the kimono. You see, it's a lot of different parts for just one piece of clothing, just one costume. And you will look at that and think, maybe if I want to make, or if I want to if I want to buy that, that will cost a little bit. And of course, it also depends how accessible how common the character is. For example, finding a cosplay for a niche anime or a niche game is a lot harder and a lot more expensive than finding a character that is as well known as, I don't know, someone from Final Fantasy or Kingdom Hearts. So it's always measuring those things, how common and well known it is, the series that you want to portray, and how many parts the clothing appears to have.
That's why I thought Tifa was simple, because you imagine
Yeah.
Tifa with a white t-shirt, some black pants, I think, and the gloves, and that's it. There's Tifa.
Yeah, exactly.
So in Biaka, if you had unlimited budget, you could do whatever you want the way you want. What would it be?
Oh, it would be the Annalise princess dress from Barbie, Beauty and the Pauper. I think it's something like that. It's a Barbie movie, and since I was a kid, I've loved that movie, and I would love to have Annalise's dress, and it's this princess gown that you would have to pay for someone to do that, or even for yourself to do it. You would have to spend hundreds, if not thousands of euros to make it. So unlimited, I would go for that one.
I will look it up, I promise, and share here as well.
I actually have a friend that did the dress from scratch, and it's beautiful. It was hundreds of euros for her to do that just in fabric. We're not even counting the amount of work that she had to do it, but it's just beautiful.
Okay, I'm interested to see what that is. And do you have any kind of dream convention or event that you would like to attend with your ultimate cosplay?
I would love to attend. First of all, I would like to attend cons outside of Portugal. I've only visited once in Portugal. And I would like to attend them outside, of course. I would also, I think Dokomi is one that I would really like to visit in Germany. Another one, I would also like to go to Spain, Japan Expo, and others like that. I know that Japan Expo also happens in France, and I would love to go in 2025 to Japan Expo in France because they are going to have Junji Ito, which is a mangaka, a horror mangaka that I love, and I would love to meet him.
Seems like Japan should be like the top tier of cosplay, right? The best would happen in Japan. With the car. Am I
Yes,
correct?
I would love to visit Japan, but I'm not sure I would be that excited for any specific cosplay event in Japan. I would love to visit Japan as a culture, seeing the different cities and experiences, but I'm not sure I would like to go for cosplay specifically.
I'm just looking at the point here. You seem to be winning. You have 12 points, and I only have 4. So um, I'm getting distracted with our conversation. Let me refocus. Why don't we change to music, right? One of your
Mhm.
passions. And on Twitch,
Yes.
because you have a Twitch channel, which we could find the
Hmm.
links here on the comment section. You present yourself as, and I'm going to quote Biaka, I'm a musician and a proud music geek. What?
Yes.
Yeah. What is a music geek? I may be one. That's
Uh,
why I'm
in
asking.
I mean, I say it in the sense that sometimes we associate musicians as being, especially classical musicians, because I'm a classical musician. We think that these are, you think of the concerts with the formal suits and gown dresses, and you think that people are very maybe stuck up, some kind of elite thinking associated. Once, actually, I invited a friend to a recital of mine, and he appeared dressed formally. And I was like, why are you dressed like that? It's just a recital. You can just go with your everyday clothing. It's not a special event of any kind. But I understand why, because people do think of being this, formal event. And I want people to understand that musicians, even classical ones, have a very that joke sense of humor. And we like to tell these musical jokes, making jokes about composers, about other musicians. Other musicians, in the sense, for example, violinists will have jokes about violinists, about violists, about flutists. We have a lot of jokes about that, and we just like to have fun. And we music geek in the sense that I like to learn more about music, these fun facts about the composers, about their compositions, and I just like music all around.
Interesting. So you mentioned that you are a violinist, a violin teacher. Um,
Mm-hmm.
this is an area that I don't understand much, but I would like to
Mm-hmm.
understand since we are having this conversation. How advanced are you in violin? If this is a proper question.
Yes, of course. Uh, there's not really like degrees. I am at a stage where I consider myself a professional violinist. I have a degree, then I have two master's degree
In
in
violin
both
or in music in
performance.
general?
In music, I have the master's degree are in performance, violin performance, and violin teaching.
Okay. And this means that you give classes in violin, but you also perform like in a band, an orchestra, or something else. I don't
Yes.
know.
So basically, what I do have, I can for orchestras, you have to do auditions to be able to be a part
Right.
um, of an orchestra. Um, and so right now, I'm not affiliated to any orchestra, so to say. But I do. I am part of a group that does weddings, other kinds of events. We play at those, and of course, I also have my violin lessons. I'm right now also not affiliated to any school for the violin lessons, but I have my private students.
Okay. Seems I was able to catch you now in terms of scoring. We are 14-10, so it's more balanced now. I was feeling ashamed. No, just kidding. No. So you mentioned you do weddings. You mentioned that. So I also noticed that you played video game music in violin in a friend's marriage, right? So it's
Yes.
noticeable your passion for video games, and I guess also from your friends, they also love video games. That's why you played video games music. And you also have a Twitch channel that you stream playing video games, correct?
Yes.
Is that the kind of content that you share on Twitch? Streaming yourself playing games?
Yes. The content I share on Twitch is mostly gaming. I do sometimes do other kinds of content. I've also streamed myself writing, drawing a little, opening Digimon cards, doing like unboxings. But usually my content is about gaming.
What is your connection with video games? So everyone says I play video games, but specifically,
Yes.
what is your connection with video games?
Video games for me are a way to relax. I also love the narrative. So if you, I very rarely, I don't think there was almost any instances where I've played multiplayer games. So I don't, usually people say, oh, I play video games to have fun with my friends. And I also play them occasionally. But for me, video games are more for me to see these beautiful stories, being able to take this role that I don't usually have in my life and being able to explore the story from this character perspective. And I just love a very narrative driven game. Of course, the gameplay is also a plus because when we are playing, we want to have fun, of course. But usually, my main focus on the game is the story and, of course, the soundtrack. A game with a good soundtrack always makes the experience much better.
We all remember epic musics from Kingdom Hearts, from Final Fantasy. Um, those stay in our collective memory, right? And I really
Yes.
understand what you're saying, Biaka, because I don't play much nowadays. I prefer to focus my time on doing other things, but I've played a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I've played a lot, and the kind of games that I consumed were narrative focused games. I'm not a
Ooh.
FIFA player. I'm not a MOBA player. I always looked at games as a story for you to start from beginning and go until the end and be immersed in the
Mm-hmm.
story as a challenge. Am I able to go through this story, this challenge, and be able to watch the end of the game and then move to the next one and the next one and the next one? So I hardly revisit games because it's an experience for
Mm-hmm.
me. It's done. Next. And
Yes.
you have so many games with humble bundles, etc., that you are always with a pipeline of games to play that never ends. Um, but you describe exactly my feeling towards video games, which is let me amaze me with your story. Okay, I enjoy this world. I enjoy these characters. I enjoy um, the story behind it. And then there's the sequel, and then there's another sequel, and you continue going through all the Metal Gears, all the Resident Evils,
Mm-hmm.
all the Tomb Raiders. Although the Tomb Raiders not that connected with each other, but um, that's exactly my feeling with games as well, video games. Um,
Yes.
Thank you for sharing. Um, I have a challenge besides playing, and it's my time to play. I know. Let me just go through that before I lose my play. But there's a challenge for the guests here in this podcast, and we are moving towards the
Mm-hmm.
end, which is I'm gonna bring some words or areas that are related with your profile and with everything that we've just told in our conversation. And I'm going to make you choose between one or the other. And then one of them drops and another one comes, and you need to choose again and again. And let's see in the end, from all these areas and words, which is the one that survives until the end, like being the one that you prefer. Okay? It will make more sense once we start. So, between violin and board games.
Violin.
Well, let me just pick the tiles. Violin. I was already expecting that. So putting the oh, not yet. Wait. I just undo my play. I'm the one feeling stressed now with the game. So you choose violin. Between violin and video games.
Violin.
Between violin and cosplay.
Violin.
So violin is what you prefer in all these areas. It's your mind.
Yes. I could, you could take away everything. Imagine that I would not get access to video games tomorrow. For some reason, I would not get access to video games or not have money to spend on cosplay or anything like that. As long as I had my violin and music, because it's not only, for me, it's not only a profession. It's not only a job. It's my biggest passion. And if you take that away from me, that's when I think I would stop being myself. And there's no way I would choose, even though I love video games, I love cosplay, I love all those things, there's no way I would choose them over music.
Okay, don't forget it's your time to play. On Azul. What is your favorite video game besides Tomb Raider? Maybe give me the top three for us to have some idea.
Okay, top three. It's always difficult whenever someone asks me that question because it kind of depends.
Can I try to guess based on everything you have online? So I would say your top one would be Tomb Raider for everything we've discussed, but don't say it yet. Don't confirm. And then I would put in second place Final Fantasy. And then you also and then Bayonetta and Resident Evil would be in third place. As sagas, not
I will say
just a few ones. As sagas.
Yes. I will not put them in order because I'm not sure I would put them in any specific order. I would say Tomb Raider is definitely there.
Which one is your favorite? Which one? Which Tomb Raider?
I cannot choose between either Legend or Angel of Darkness. Angel of Darkness. Yeah.
Wait. Ain't the most hated Tomb Raider?
Yes, I know it's a difficult, it's a weird pick, but I just love Angel of Darkness.
Right.
People don't like Angel of Darkness because it was the sixth game from the, let's say, it was not even a trilogy
the
because
first
you have
PlayStation 2 Tomb Raider, right?
Oh.
Lots of expectations, and then
yeah, and that one is not really a Tomb Raider in the sense that there's no tomb raiding actually happening.
Yeah, it's more in the
like
city. The city, right?
Yeah, it's more like a conspiracy happening around Lara. But I just love the mechanics and the vibe of the game and the story. I really love the game, and I'm so looking forward when they release the collection of remasters of 4, 5, and 6. I'm so looking forward to replaying that.
Okay. Wow, I was not expecting that. So Tomb Raider first, and
then I would choose Nier games.
Nier games?
Yes, Nier includes Nier Automata, Nier Replicant.
Okay. You also cosplay at B2 or
Yes,
2B? Or...
I cosplayed both 2B and Kaine, which are the protagonists of either one.
Okay.
I love the Nier series, and the reason why I love the Nier series is because they have such meaningful stories. The stories are just beautiful for both games. The way the characters are developed, and of course, the cherry on top of those games is the soundtrack. The soundtrack is, I would easily put the soundtracks of the Nier games on my favorite of all time.
It's so interesting that I can sorry, I'm just looking at the game and trying to speak at the same time. It's really difficult.
Yeah.
I'm just realizing that someone with your musical background, that when you're playing a game, you are giving attention to music, the soundtrack, maybe the instruments being played, etc., which is something that, for me personally, it just goes through. It goes in and out without processing much.
Actually, if you see some of my streams, there are moments where the chat is just going on, the story is happening. I still lost, right?
Yeah, so I was able to overcome 65 to 33, but I saw there was an improvement on your side as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I was getting the hang of it. Because there are times where I'm just playing the game, and of course, all the games that I play on stream are always first times. It's my first time experience with them. There are just some times where I will just stop everything that I'm doing and just be like this, where I'm just taking in the musical moment that is happening, because it's so, sometimes the soundtrack really gets to me. There's actually a movie, an anime movie that people talk very little about, which is a movie called Belle. It's an anime version and a different interpretation of um, of the Beauty and the Beast story. They decided to do a different take on that, and I cried that whole movie while I was watching it at the movies. I cried the entire movie almost, let's say from half until the end, just because of the music. I recommend that movie to anyone that appreciates music, because I was not even crying about the story. I was crying about the music because it's just so beautiful. I felt so touched by it.
Thanks for the recommendation. We're almost at the end. Before we go, I always like to ask the guest to tell me someone or recommend me someone that I should invite for this podcast. Could be from any area, someone that you think is an interesting person like yourself, and could have an amazing story to share. Okay.
I have a friend that is also very passionate about board games, and he's very passionate about game books, which is Tiago Filipe Costa. He is a friend. He has a very unique story to tell, because he's doing a YouTube channel around game books, which is something that is not very talked about.
Well, thank you for the recommendation. And thank you for sharing with me these games and your story.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciated our conversation. I feel like we have content here for 3 more episodes if we want, around music, games, board games, card games, cosplay. Maybe who knows one day. Biaka.
Yes.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you so much.